Hi friends, today me and Steve are gonna watch a video where everything breaks into pieces.
Hey Alex, remember that time we decided to explore that abandoned mine shaft deep in the mountains?
Oh, how could I forget? That was wild! We thought we were going to find loads of diamonds, and instead...
We found a swarm of cave spiders. I was just trying to light up the place, and suddenly I turned around and there they were, all googly-eyed and ready to pounce.
I still can't believe you screamed like a villager. It was like the sound echoed for miles. There I was, minding my own business when you came barreling past me, running for your life, and I just stood there laughing.
I thought I was going to get bitten, but then, as I ran, I tripped over some gravel and fell right into a pit of lava. I swear my heart stopped for a second.
That was the moment I realized you hadn't brought any buckets to collect water. I mean, who goes into a mine shaft without a bucket? Your panic was priceless.
Well, I was so focused on finding treasure that I completely forgot the essentials. But remember how we eventually circled back and managed to corner those spiders?
Yes! You were bravely swinging your sword like a crazy hero, while I was firing arrows from a distance, trying to make sure you didn't get overwhelmed.
And when we finally cleared the area, we found that hidden chest. I opened it expecting gold and riches. Instead, it was a single piece of bread and some more spider eyes.
That was the ultimate disappointment. We risked our lives for a loaf of bread. But then, just as we were about to leave, we stumbled across that giant ravine.
Oh right, the one with the mysterious waterfall. I almost fell into it while trying to show off my parkour skills.
You jumped, slipped, and barely grabbed onto the edge just in time. You looked like a fish out of water.
Yeah, that was a little embarrassing. But do you remember how we found diamonds on the other side of the ravine?
Yes! That was a crazy turn of events. You were still recovering from your fish out of water move when I spotted those gleaming blue stones.
I was ecstatic. But then I decided to jump across the ravine to get them, thinking I could make it in one big leap.
Classic Steve! Of course, you miscalculated and ended up landing right in the water below.
Yeah, I splashed down like a stone and lost half the hearts I had left. But at least I got the diamonds.
And I was there to witness your epic failure and your triumph at the same time. That day was definitely one for the books.
It reminded me that sometimes the journey is just as fun as the destination. Just a regular day in the life of Minecraft.
Exactly. Should we plan our next adventure? I hear there's a new biome not too far from here. Who knows what we might find? Or stumble over.
As long as I have you to laugh at me when I inevitably fall, I'm all in. Hey Alex, remember that time we ventured into the Nether?
Oh, how could I forget? That was the most chaotic trip. I still laugh every time I think about it.
Right? So we were on our way to gather some glowstone, and I thought it would be a great idea to bring my diamond pickaxe. I was feeling pretty confident.
Confident indeed. You were strutting around like you were the king of the Nether, all while I was just trying to keep up with you, avoiding those ghasts.
Ah, yes, the ghasts. They really had it out for us that day. So I was busy mining away, and out of nowhere, a ghast appeared. It shot a fireball right at me, and I panicked.
Panic doesn't even cover it. You started running in circles and yelling, "It's coming for me! It's coming for me!"
Okay, fine, I may have overreacted a bit. But honestly, those fireballs are terrifying. So I sprinted toward the edge of a ledge and then...
You fell off! I can't believe you actually jumped off the ledge.
I didn't jump! I slipped! And while trying to regain my balance, I ended up falling into a lava lake.
And I was trying my best to deflect the gas fireballs while watching you disappear into the lava. You lost everything, including your precious diamond pickaxe.
Yeah, it was a disaster. I respawned back at our base, covered in ash, looking like a total mess. But you know what? At least I learned to keep an eye on where I was going.
And, on the bright side, I snagged some of that glowstone while you were busy having a lava swim. Best glowstone decoration we ever made.
You mean the one that lights up our house and contrasts beautifully with the walls? That's the one!
Yep, all thanks to my excellent mining skills. Just don't ask me about the time I lost a whole stack of diamonds in an ender portal because I accidentally threw them.
I knew you had a story to share. What happened?
Well, I was so eager to go to the end that I was throwing Eyes of Ender everywhere and accidentally tossed a stack of diamonds instead.
No way! How did you even manage that?
I was holding the gems in my hand, trying to figure out how to craft something, and in my excitement, I just launched them into the void. We spent what felt like forever searching for a way to retrieve them, but, well, you know how that ended.
That's priceless. I'm glad it was you and not me this time.
Yes, I'll take that win. But let's not forget, every adventure has its ups and downs. At least we have plenty of stories to tell.
Definitely. Here's to more chaotic adventures ahead, hopefully with fewer lava baths.
Agreed! I think we've had our fill of near-death experiences for one day.
Remember that time we were building that massive castle on the hill?
Oh, how could I forget? It was supposed to be our masterpiece!
Right? We were so excited about it. We had planned every little detail from the grand entrance to the secret trapdoor.
And then you decided to take a shortcut with the TNT to clear out the space for the basement.
In my defense, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
It wasn't just a good idea. It was a disaster. I remember we had dug deep and made this sprawling chamber. You lit that TNT and suddenly, boom!
I swear I thought we'd lost the entire castle.
We practically did. I was standing there watching our beautiful creations get blasted to pieces, and all I could think was, what if this is how I lose my diamond armor?
And then the chickens.
Yes, the chickens. Somehow they all flew out from the explosion, and it looked like they were on a mad quest for freedom.
I'm still not sure how they ended up on the roof. It was such a bizarre sight. Our castle in ruins, and a flock of chickens clucking away like it was their palace now.
You ran after them yelling, "Get back here, you freeloaders!" It was so ridiculous. You weren't exactly king of the castle at that moment.
Hey, a king must protect his kingdom even from rogue chickens. But then we had to rebuild everything from scratch, right?
It took forever. But we turned it into an even better castle, complete with a chicken coop.
Good thing we learned how to do that. A few flappy friends can definitely add some charm to a castle.
Exactly. And after all the chaos, I think we actually had the best time just laughing at ourselves.
I think that's the best part of our adventures. No matter how crazy things get, we always manage to find the fun.
Absolutely. So what's next? Should we go for round 2 with TNT, or maybe just stick to building?
How about we promise to leave the TNT behind for now and just focus on building? I think the villagers would appreciate that.
Agreed. But maybe let's keep a few chickens around to remind us of our explosive adventures.
Deal. Here's to more great memories, without the explosions.
Bye-bye, guys. Like and subscribe to the channel. And also be sure to write comments. We will be very happy and we will read everything. Bye-bye, everyone. Hello, dear friends. Today, me and Steve will watch a cool video about Tunner from Sprunky in Minecraft.
Yeah, today we're going to be looking for the horror version of it, and it looks like we're going to have to go down some kind of underground tunnel.
I do not like tunnels. There are spiders and spider webs, and in this one even more so there may be monsters. I think the path will be difficult.
Well, so far this tunnel doesn't look scary. It's even lit up, and there are pictures of this horror character hanging around.
Look, you have to choose which door to go to next. I don't like these questions. There's gotta be a catch.
We don't need Sky, we need Tunner. It looks like we're going through another door, either door 2 or door 3. We don't need any other character.
Have you heard about this new game called Sprunky? It's like a fan-made version of Incredibox.
Oh yeah, I've seen some clips of it online. It's basically a music creation game, right? How does it work?
Exactly! You drag and drop different characters onto the screen, and each one makes its own unique sound. You can combine them to create your own music tracks.
That sounds really cool. I love how Incredibox lets you mix sounds too, but I guess Sprunky brings a fresh twist to it. Are there a lot of characters to choose from?
Yeah, there are quite a few characters with different sounds, like beatboxing and melodies. What's interesting is that some characters have unique or even edgy designs. It sparked some debate among players, though.
I can imagine. Sometimes those creative choices can be a bit controversial, but it's great that the game encourages mixing and sharing music. How did it even come about?
It started as a mod of Incredibox on the Scratch platform, but it got removed because it violated some rules. Then, the developer Nyanko BF Law launched it on other platforms, and it really took off from there.
That's pretty impressive. It's nice to see a community build around a game, especially when they can share their own mixes. Do you think we'll see more expansions or updates for it in the future?
I hope so. The gameplay is really engaging, and with so many fans, it's likely the developer will add more content. Plus, those customizable visuals make creating music even more fun.
Sounds like a great way to express creativity. I should definitely check it out and give it a try. Music games like this can really spark inspiration.
Absolutely! I think you'll love it. Let's jam together sometime and see what cool mixes we can come up with.
And get this, it's got 2 modes, normal and horror. You start with happy little dudes like Orange or Veneria Green, but if you add black, everything turns creepy.
Whoa, like a Herobrine jump scare.
Kinda. The whole stage goes dark and characters transform. Like Funbot becomes this glitchy nightmare, but the music gets epic.
How do you even play it?
Easy. Go to sprunky.gg, drag characters to the stage. They're split into 4 groups. Beats like Kluker or Silver for drums. Effects like Sky Blue for swooshes. Melodies like Simon Yellow's tunes. Vocals like Pinky Pink's singing.
Any secret characters?
Totally unlock Rebel or a fucking flower by mixing specific combos. There's even an OC maker to design your own characters.
That's cooler than Enchanted Diamonds. Why is it called Sprunky, though?
No clue. Maybe because it's sprinkled with weirdness. Oh, and the wiki.sprunkacharacters.org has lore for everyone, like Jevin Blue being a DJ.
Let's try it. I want to mix Mr. Sun's melodies with Gray's effects.
Race you to unlock horror mode first. Winner gets netherite.
While we're looking for Tunner, I want to tell the story of how I met Orin in Minecraft. Are you interested?
Yeah, come on, I'd really like to hear it.
All right. Let me tell you about the weirdest, coolest thing that's ever happened to me in Minecraft. You know me? I'm always up for an adventure, right? Well, I'd heard whispers around the villages, crazy rumors about musical creatures, things that didn't quite fit in our blocky world. Specifically, I was obsessed with finding this one sound I heard echoing one night. I can't even begin to describe it. It just sounded like a cool beat. Then one day, old Betty from the village told me about a floating DJ booth somewhere out in the world, and I had to see it. So, of course, I immediately packed my things. A few stacks of steak, my trusty diamond axe, and a whole bunch of torches, and set off. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. First, I had to cross this massive desert. I nearly died of thirst, even with my water skin. Then, I ran into a whole horde of zombies and skeletons in a dark forest. I barely made it out of there alive, dodging creepers and hacking away with my axe until the sun finally rose. But the absolute worst was the cave spider den. I got poisoned like 10 times. I had to use like all my milk. After all that, I found myself climbing these ridiculously tall snow-covered mountains. I was freezing and kept falling off, but I kept pushing myself. I felt like I was going crazy, but I had to keep going to find the DJ booth. Finally, just when I was about to give up, I saw it. Perched on top of the highest peak, glowing with a soft light, was the booth. But there was a figure inside. Orin was in the booth, and he looked right at me. He didn't look like anything I'd ever seen in Minecraft. He was all smooth and rounded, no sharp edges, and he was surrounded by these floating instruments and sound pads. But it was his music. That was what drew me in. He was spinning these amazing beats, mixing sounds I'd never even imagined. I was so speechless I nearly fell off the mountain. I climbed up to the booth and waved. He stopped the music and gave me a little bow. He handed me a pair of glowing headphones, and when I put them on, I could hear every layer of the music and Orin's incredible voice, like I was inside the song. We jammed together for what felt like hours. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like we spoke the same language even though we didn't say a word. We created music that made the sun shine brighter and the stars dance in the sky. It was pure, unadulterated magic. Orin's become my best friend. He taught me so much about music and about seeing the world in a different way. Now, whenever I need a break from the usual Minecraft grind, I head up to that mountain and jam with Orin. It's a reminder that even in a world of blocks and predictable patterns, there's always room for surprises and for the beauty of music.
Yeah, it's all about creating your own musical mixes with unique characters. There are about 20 different characters that you can use, each with their own distinct sounds. You have characters for beats, effects, melodies, and vocals.
That sounds awesome! How do you actually play it?
It's super simple. You just go to their site, sprunky.gg, and drag the characters onto the stage to create your mix. You can mix and match different character types to come up with some pretty cool composition.
What types of characters are there? Are there any favorites you like? What types of characters are there? Are there any favorites you like?
There are 4 main categories: beats, effects, melodies, and vocals. For example, the orange character, Orin, is great for beats, and then there's Simon for melodies, who's yellow. What really adds a twist is the horror mode. If you use the black character, everything goes dark and the characters transform into creepy versions of themselves.
Whoa, that sounds like a major change. Does it make the music different too?
I think we can say goodbye to our viewers. The time is coming to an end. Put likes and subscribe to our channel and write comments. We will definitely read everything. Bye.
Hello, dear friends. Today we are going to watch a cool video about horror characters of Minecraft.
Look, a resident with a haircut proposes marriage to another resident.
Ooh, looks like he loved one of those residents. Now he wants to get a cool haircut at a barbershop.
That zombie has a really cool beard. It really sexy.
He wants to look cool, too. Look, there's a lot of different horror characters in this barbershop. Do they really all want a cool haircut?
This resident got a haircut like some ancient Greek philosopher. It looks weird but fun.
Our little resident didn't want to stand in line and killed another. And how is he going to get a haircut if he's bald?
It's very simple. It's Minecraft. Anything's possible, but I think it's a wig.
He's smiling like that. I guess he likes his new haircut. Now he can find a wife.
Now he just came home. The resident walked him home, and then what?
I get it. There's a catch to this barbershop. There's no way horror characters just cut people's hair. It's a trap.
Hey, Alex, do you remember that time we decided to explore that mountainous biome?
Oh, the one where we found that giant cave system? Absolutely! I still can't get over how we both fell into that ravine without even noticing it.
Right? We were just minding our own business, casually mining some coal and talking about building our new treehouse. Then suddenly you yelled, "Look out!" And before I knew it, I was tumbling down.
Laughs, I didn't mean to scare you. I just saw that creeper sneak up on you like a ninja. I thought you were a goner.
A goner? That's an understatement. I hit the ground and instantly panicked. I had no idea where I was or that I was landing right next to a pack of zombies.
Oh man, I remember. You got up and just started swinging your axe like a madman. You took out 2 of them before finally remembering to eat something.
I was so desperate to survive. But then I had that moment of epiphany while munching on a cooked pork chop, realizing I actually had an army of skeletons fighting the zombies for me.
Yeah, that was like watching the best reality show ever. You kept running around while the skeletons were shooting each other to get to you.
And I was just standing there completely bewildered. I mean, who knew that would happen? I thought I was going to lose everything, including my diamond pickaxe.
Speaking of that pickaxe, you should have seen your face when you finally managed to escape all that chaos. You looked like you had seen a ghost when you realized it was still in your inventory.
I know, I was so relieved. But then we thought we'd finally be safe back on the surface. Remember how we celebrated by making a campfire?
Of course! We roasted marshmallows and thought we were so clever. But then out of nowhere, that baby zombie came charging at us.
Laughs, that thing was like a little rocket. It was so fast. I could hardly move, and you were running in circles screaming, "Get it away! Get it away!"
It was only after I tripped over a block and face-planted that I realized I just provided it a clear path to you. You were so focused on trying to fight it off that you didn't notice me lying there.
Well, I definitely appreciated the distraction. We finally managed to take it down, and it dropped a feather. A single feather. After all that chaos, that was our reward.
But it made for a great story. We laugh every time we retell it. Next time, though, let's try to explore a bit more carefully, all right?
Agreed, but I think we both know that with our luck, it'll be another wild adventure next time.
Absolutely! That's the spirit! Now what should we conquer next? Absolutely! That's the spirit! Now what should we conquer next?
Remember that time we decided to build an underwater base? I thought it would be the ultimate survival hideout.
Oh, how could I forget? It started out so well, and then we found ourselves in a total disaster!
Right? We were so confident digging out that entire area, creating little rooms. I even had plans for an aquarium, but then, as we were placing glass, this drowned zombie appeared out of nowhere.
Laughs, I remember that. You screamed so loudly I thought the fish in the sea would hear you. You dropped the glass blocks everywhere.
I panicked. I mean, who expects to be attacked while decorating?
Well, I was busy trying to fend it off. You just stood there like a statue for a moment. I nearly got overwhelmed trying to protect you.
In all the chaos, we ended up flooding our base. Water was pouring in from all sides like we were in a scene from a disaster movie.
I was swimming around, trying to put torches down underwater to light the place up, but torches just keep floating away. You were trying to bring in gravel to plug the holes, but ended up just creating an even bigger leak.
It was a classic case of let's fix this gone wrong. We barely managed to escape before the whole base turned into a massive aquarium for the drowned. I can't believe we thought it was a good idea in the first place.
But at least we had fun! And that's when we decided to build our new base high up in the mountains instead. No drowned zombies there.
True. And who could forget our first night in the mountain base? I thought it was going to be peaceful, just us overlooking the world.
Right until that skeleton ambushed us. It was like it was waiting for us. You were trying to put down beds, and I was dodging arrows left and right.
Laughs, I can still see you doing that awkward sideways dance to avoid the shots. You look so ridiculous.
Better ridiculous than dead. But the best part was when I missed the skeleton and accidentally hit that sheep instead. It was like a chain reaction.
The sheep started running everywhere, and then we had a whole flock stampeding toward us. We ended up having to fend off both the skeleton and a herd of panicking sheep.
It was pure chaos. And when dawn finally came, and we realized we had just defended our mountain fortress from both undead and livestock, I felt like we'd accomplished a legendary feat.
Definitely a story to tell. We should write these down. Who knows? Someday they might become legends in the Minecraft world.
I have a feeling they already are. So what's our next great adventure?
How about a treasure hunt in the desert? We could look for temples and see if we can avoid another disaster.
Only if we can put torches on our treasure map. I feel like we'll definitely need light this time.
Remember that time we were mining deep down in the caves and found that huge lava lake?
Oh, how could I forget? It was terrifying. I was just digging away and suddenly you yelled, "Lava!" I thought my pickaxe would break.
Right. I was just about to mine some diamonds, and there it was, bubbling and glowing. I panicked and accidentally broke the block under my feet. I thought I was toast.
Laughs, I can picture you hanging over the edge, flailing your arms like a chicken. It was like something out of a cartoon.
Exactly, and then I dropped my water bucket trying to save myself. It turned into a race against time to find another water source so I could actually avoid falling in.
I remember you sprinting all around the caves like some kind of frantic adventurer while I stood there giggling. 'Cause let's be honest, it was hilarious.
Well, you would have laughed even harder if you'd seen my face when I finally found a water source. I poured it down just in time to stop myself from diving head first into that lava lake. Talk about a close call.
And what about our encounter with that Enderman?
Oh man, I was looking at it, trying to figure out why it was so tall, and I swear it just blinked at me. And the moment I realized it was staring back, I accidentally hit it.
Laughs. You know what happened next! You started running in circles, screaming like a total goofball. The poor Enderman was just trying to mind its own business. Hey guys, today me and Steve are gonna watch a funny Minecraft video.
Hey Alex, remember that time we went on a quest to find the end portal? That was one wild adventure.
Oh, how could I forget? We were all hyped up, ready to take on the Ender Dragon. We even made a supply run to gather food, but I didn't expect it to turn into a food fight.
Right? You kept trying to hand me cooked pork chops, but I was so excited I accidentally threw them into the lava instead. I almost cried.
And I was right there shouting, "No, not the pork!" I still can't believe I got so mad over virtual food. But you know what made it worse? After that, you were like, "Don't worry, I have a ton of bread."
And then I threw that into the lava too. We were both panicking because we thought we would starve before even reaching the end.
That's when I had the brilliant idea to stop by that village we passed earlier. You know, the one with a bunch of llamas.
Oh man, yes. But didn't we end up stealing all their crops? I remember us running away with the villagers chasing us while they threw their little pickaxes at us.
I could still hear them yelling. It was like a ridiculous minigame trying to dodge their attacks. I don't think I've ever sprinted so fast in Minecraft.
But hey, we got enough food to last us through the end. Once we finally found the end portal, it was glorious. Though, The real challenge was finding the stronghold.
Oh, definitely. Remember how we kept getting lost? Because you insisted on mapping out the entire forest? I swear we walked in circles for an hour.
But who could forget your reaction when we found that submerged cave? You were like, "Look, treasure," only to discover it was just a bunch of squids.
Yes. I was so disappointed. But that cave ended up having a ton of resources, so it wasn't a total loss.
Yes, I was so disappointed. But that cave ended up having a ton of resources, so it wasn't a total loss.
We eventually found it, and then the moment we jumped into the end, I was pumped. Until, of course, we were greeted by that swarm of Endermen.
Right. They were everywhere, and I panicked and looked at one by mistake. I remember running for my life, screaming at you, "Why do they all hate me?"
And I was like, "Steve, just stop looking at them." But they were relentless. I couldn't stop laughing at how you were just zigzagging around, trying to dodge them.
Hey, it worked eventually, and we did manage to take down the dragon in the end.
Yes, we did. But I'll never forget how we set off a ton of TNT to celebrate and almost blew up our whole setup. That was a blast. Literally.
Good times, right? We need to go on another crazy adventure soon.
Absolutely! As long as it doesn't involve losing all our food again.
Remember that time we decided to build that giant roller coaster out in the plains?
Oh, absolutely. That was such a fun project. It started out as just a simple ride, but then we got a little carried away, didn't we?
A little? More like we turned it into this massive twisting monstrosity that covered half the valley. I remember when we finally rode it for the first time. I was so excited that I didn't even check if I had enough food on me.
Right! You hopped in the minecart and I was just standing there watching you scream as you flew off the first drop. You looked like you were about to die of fright.
I thought I was going to. The drop was way steeper than I expected. And then, halfway through, I realized that we hadn't put in any safety rails. I was just waiting for that moment when I would fly off into the void.
And then, of course, there was that one time you got stuck in the loop-de-loop section. How did you even manage to do that?
Don't remind me. I kept trying to fix it, and then I accidentally activated the redstone, so it turned into this crazy ride that shot me back and forth. You just stood there laughing your head off while I was screaming for help.
I couldn't help it. You looked so confused. I mean, I enjoyed the show, but I finally jumped on the cart after a while just to rescue you.
And then we both ended up crashing into that cactus patch at the bottom. That was the most painful ride ever.
Cacti are definitely not the best landing spot, but it turned into a hilarious story that we still tell.
And you know what? After that, we decided to leave the coaster as is, a monument to our failure.
Definitely. We put up signs all around it. Welcome to Steve and Alex's Death Trap Coaster.
We probably scared away more players than we entertained, but I wouldn't change a thing about that day.
Me neither. It's moments like those that make our adventures so memorable. What do you say we try building something a little less deadly this time?
Sounds like a plan, but knowing us, we'll probably end up with another chaotic contraption.
Let's just make sure we have plenty of healing potions this time.
Hey, Alex, remember that time we tried to build that automatic chicken farm?
Oh no! Don't remind me! That was a feathery disaster!
Yeah, we thought we were so smart. Just a simple redstone dispenser, some eggs, and a hopper system to collect the meat and feathers. Easy, right?
Right. Until we forgot to put a roof on it.
Oh, the horror. The first night we heard clucking, then more clucking. Then suddenly, hundreds of chickens just started pouring out of the farm.
They were everywhere! On the roof, in the wheat fields, even inside the house! I opened the door, and bam! A chicken flew straight into my face!
And then the lag started. The game was chugging like a broken minecart.
We had to spend the next 3 in-game days just whacking chickens with swords. The villagers were judging us so hard.
At least we never ran out of food after that.
Yeah, but I still find random feathers in my chest to this day.
Do you remember that time we tried to build that massive roller coaster in the sky?
Oh, of course! That was one of my favorite projects. I thought we were going to create the ultimate amusement park.
Yeah, but then we got a little too ambitious, didn't we? I mean, who knew we'd run out of rails halfway up the mountain?
And There's nothing quite like standing there at the top, staring at that giant cliff with half a roller coaster track dangling off it. It was like asking for trouble.
Right? So we decided to walk back to the village to gather more resources, but you remember what happened next?
How could I forget? We tripped over a herd of llamas on our way back. They were all just standing there blocking the path. I swear they were conspiring against us.
Seriously, we ended up having to lead them back to the village. It was like a bizarre llama parade, and everyone was watching us with those judging looks. What a spectacle!
And then halfway through the village, one of those llamas spat at you. You leaped back like it was a creeper.
I was not ready for that, and all the villagers just stared at me like, what's this guy doing?
You've got to admit, it was pretty funny. And then when we finally returned to the mountain with the rails...
We decided to test it immediately, right?
Yeah, but I remember we both had a minecart, and you insisted on going first. You said it would be a great test run.
Well, I didn't expect you to activate the trap door while I was on it. I ended up flying straight off the side.
You just disappeared into the clouds. I thought you were gonna rage.
Honestly, I was laughing too hard to be mad, and then I had to find my way back up the mountain. But I forgot to bring any blocks.
Oh yeah, you were stuck for ages. I could see you running around like a lost sheep.
And when I finally made it back after using all my ender pearls, you were just sitting on the roller coaster, casually munching on a golden apple.
Well, someone had to enjoy the ride. You should have seen your face when you realized I had already finished the track without you. Hi guys! Today me and Steve are going to watch a video where Steve's dice figure will be smashed with a hammer. Look, now the hammer is testing Steve in different armor.
Hi guys, so far this hammer's doing very well. No armor helps to escape it.
You're right, probably because this hammer is flying at a very high speed and it's spinning. It's awesome!
Hey Alex, you won't believe what happened to me the other day while I was mining. I was deep underground, you know, the usual diamond hunting, and I stumbled upon a cave filled with creepers.
Oh no! Did you manage to get out safely?
Just wait. So there I was, surrounded by 3 of them. I thought I could sneak past them, but of course, one of them spotted me and started hissing.
Huge hammer.
I panicked and started running, but in my haste, I accidentally hit another creeper.
Hammer.
Oh no, you triggered a chain reaction, didn't you?
Exactly. They all started exploding one after the other. I was like, this is it. I'm going to explode in a firework of green. When the dust settled, I realized I was surprisingly still alive, but my entire tunnel was gone.
I can just picture it. An amateur miner's disaster with creepers flying everywhere. What did you do next?
Well, after I gathered my wits, I climbed back up to the surface, but as I emerged from the cave, I found myself right in the middle of a giant zombie horde. It was like they were waiting for me.
Talk about bad luck. Were you able to fight them off?
Let's just say I've never appreciated a bow and arrow more in my life. I stayed back and took them out one by one from a distance. Afterward, I was so relieved I celebrated by making a cake, only to realize I didn't have any eggs.
Cake without eggs? That's a Minecraft tragedy. Speaking of odd moments, I had something funny happen while fishing in the river.
Oh, do tell.
So, I was trying to catch some fish, sitting on the bank, when suddenly I got a bite. I reared back to reel it in, but instead of a fish, I pulled out a name tag.
A name tag? What were you planning to name?
I had no idea. But right after that, a salmon jumped out of the water and smacked me right in the face. It was like the fish was offended by my fishing skills.
That is classic. Did you let that salmon get away after that?
Of course not. I chased it down, thinking I was going to catch it like some kind of fishmaster, but it slipped through my fingers and jumped back into the water. I just sat there, soaked and defeated, thinking it might be time to take up a different hobby.
Maybe terracotta building instead? Less chance of fish retaliating.
Can you imagine? Alex the terracotta architect. I can just see it now. Designs that include a moat to protect my creations from angry fish.
Now that would be a building challenge worth seeing. You know, for all our odd adventures, I wouldn't trade our story time for anything.
Me neither. Each moment just adds to the memories, and I can't wait to see what trouble we'll get into next.
Do you remember that time we were exploring the Nether and ended up in that massive fortress?
Oh, how could I forget? We were totally unprepared, and you just had that one iron sword.
Right, I thought we were being brave. So we wander in, and the first blaze we encounter just bursts into flames and starts shooting fireballs at us.
I panicked and ran straight into a wall. I kept yelling, "Why is it shooting? Why is it shooting?"
Meanwhile, I was trying to fight it off, but all I could do was wave my sword around like a madman. It felt like I was trying to swat a fly with a baseball bat.
And then I remembered I had brought a bucket of water. I thought I could douse the blaze and save the day, but instead, I just ended up setting myself on fire.
You started screaming, "Help! I'm on fire!" while I was still trying to figure out how to defeat that blaze. I was like, "Can you focus? You're about to die."
It was chaos! I finally managed to extinguish myself and got back into the fight, but then I accidentally hit you with my sword!
I know. You turned around and there I was, just trying to regain my composure and bam, friendly fire.
I spent so much time trying to apologize that a gas swooped in and started shooting its fireballs at us. Talk about a bad day!
I remember running around yelling just when I thought things couldn't get worse, while you were trying to build a quick shelter.
You know what's funny? By the end of it, we didn't even get anything good out of that fortress. Just a few nether warts and a lot of bruised egos.
Honestly though, it was one of the funniest adventures we've had. The way we handled that situation, well, let's just say we're not exactly the best team in the nether.
Agreed. But that's what makes our adventures memorable. Who needs treasure when you have epic laugh-out-loud stories to tell?
For sure. So what's next on our agenda? More nether misadventures? Or maybe we should finally build that epic treehouse we've been talking about?
Definitely the treehouse. I need a break from running for my life, but let's promise not to invite any blazes, okay?
Deal, just don't bring any buckets of water. Hey Alex, remember that time we were exploring those deep caverns and thought we found a hidden treasure?
Oh, how could I forget? We were so excited thinking we'd strike it rich. I still can't believe we got so carried away.
Right? We started digging through the walls, convinced we were just one block away from a chest full of diamonds. I had my pickaxe out and we were both shouting, "This has to be it!"
And just as I broke that last block, I saw something glittering in the distance, and I screamed, "Diamonds!" We both rushed forward, but it turned out to be a shiny piece of gravel.
Oh man, the look on your face. You were so hopeful, and then reality hit like a zombie in the night.
Yeah! And then, to add insult to injury, we heard this terrible noise behind us. I turn around, and there's a horde of skeletons shooting arrows at us. It was like they were laughing with us. No! At us!
I remember you saying something like, "Great, now we're gonna be the ones who get shot to pieces because of our treasure hunt."
Exactly. We ended up scrambling up that cliff, trying to dodge arrows while I kept shouting, "Why did we dig straight into a skeleton spawner?"
It turned out to be a trap, just like one of those horror movie scenes. I was hoping for gold and silver, and all we got was a giant welcome sign from the skeletons.
And just when we thought we were safe, I tripped over some vines and fell right back down into the cave. Right in front of that skeleton mob. I was like, "No!"
You really should have seen yourself. You popped back up like a zombie coming back for revenge. But the best part was when I tried to save you, and I ended up taking an arrow to the knee myself.
Oh, I couldn't stop laughing. We both jumped and ran back. And somehow, despite all that chaos, we made it out alive with only a few hearts left.
And let's not forget that we didn't even log out with any loot. Just some broken hopes and a bunch of arrows stuck in our backs. Classic us.
Definitely. But that's part of the fun, right? It's moments like those that make our adventures so memorable.
Absolutely. So what's next? Should we try to conquer that mountain we've been on, or go back to that cave and face our skeleton foes like brave adventurers?
I say we go for the mountain. Who knows? We might find something better than treasure up there. Like a nice view without any skeletons.
Sounds like a plan. Let's make some new epic stories. But this time we'll remember to bring the torches and watch our backs.
Bye-bye, dear friends. Like and subscribe to the channel and write comments. We will read everything. Bye-bye, everyone. Ollie, dear friends. Today me and Steve will watch a cool animation crocodile bombardillo in Minecraft.
These guys fell out of some portal in the sky. Apparently, they fell into the world of Italian brain rot memes.
But they're an interesting bunch, Steve. Skeleton, zombie, pig zombie. I thought those guys couldn't be friends.
Is it just me, or did the portal just laugh at them and disappear? It's pretty funny. I guess it threw them into this world on purpose.
This is some kind of weird dimension. Nothing around. Everyone's acting weird. And why did the portal even bring them here?
They don't seem very happy with what's going on, and they don't understand it as well as we do, but it's funny.
Yeah, it does look fun. They have funny eyes, but what's with the mysterious stranger who glitches? He looks scary.
Yeah, he doesn't look very kind, and why is he standing back? I don't think you should go near him.
And there's some other cars parked next to it. It's both scary and funny at the same time. It's funny.
It looks like they're deciding who's going to go to him. But they didn't notice the Nubik was missing. He's on his way.
Hey, Steve! Have you heard about that massive threat in our world? The Crocodilo Bombardillo! It's a giant crocodile plane that shoots rockets!
Yeah, I've seen it flying around. It's wreaking havoc on the village. We need to come up with a plan to defeat it. Any ideas?
Well, I was thinking we could set a trap. If we lure it into a specific area, we can ambush it with some explosives.
That sounds risky, but could work. But how do we lure it in without getting blasted ourselves?
We could create a decoy. Maybe build something that looks like an important structure it would target, like a village or our base. While it's distracted, we could hide and wait for the right moment.
That's a good idea. We should also gather some armor and weapons. That thing probably has some serious firepower. Do you think we can craft some potions for protection too?
Absolutely! We can brew some splash potions of fire resistance. If it fires at us, at least we'll have a chance to withstand the blast.
All right, once we have everything ready, we need to choose the right location for the trap. What about that clearing by the lake? It's open, and there's nowhere for it to hide.
Perfect! If we set up our decoy there, we can get the jump on it. We just need to make sure we have plenty of arrows and maybe some TNT for the final blow.
Sounds like a solid plan. Let's get to work then. We can't let this giant crocodile plane cause any more destruction in our world.
Yeah, together we can do this. Let's show that Crocodilo Bombardillo what real heroes are made of.
Have you ever thought about how wild it would be to fight that giant flying crocodile, the Crocodilo Bombardillo?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine it swooping down from the sky, those rockets launching, and us dodging like crazy. I mean, how would we even go about taking it down?
You know, my first thought is to use some kind of bait. Like if we had a giant fish or something really shiny, maybe we could lure it away from the village.
That could work. But what if it just ignores the bait? It's a giant flying crocodile. It probably has a mind of its own. We need something that can really distract it.
Right! What if we set up a trap? We could build a massive pit with some TNT at the bottom. When it swoops down to investigate, we could trigger the explosion, pauses dramatically, and boom, no more Crocodilo Bombardillo.
Now that's a plan. But we'd have to be super careful not to fall in ourselves. Maybe we could create a roller coaster track to maneuver around it while we wait for the perfect moment to strike.
A roller coaster? That's genius. I can already imagine the thrill, zooming around, dodging its bombs while planning our attack. We definitely need some speed potions.
And what about those rocket launchers? We could craft some crossbows with special arrows. You know, explosive arrows. We time it just right. Shoot right when it's diving down.
Oh man, that would look so cool. Laughs. But what if it fires back? We'd need a solid plan for defense. Maybe some obsidian blocks to shield us when the bombs start dropping.
Totally. We'd need a whole fortress made of obsidian just to withstand the fallout from those rockets. And we could set up some decoys around the area.
Decoy army. Just imagine a bunch of Steve and Alex clones running around distracting it while we prepare our grand finale attack. The sheer chaos would be brilliant.
I love it. But you think we'd need any allies? I mean, maybe getting a few villagers to help could improve our chances. They could provide some moral support, right?
Absolutely. Plus, they might have some hidden tactics we've never even thought of. Villagers always have the best ideas, especially when it comes to farming.
Oh, they just turned the whole fight into a massive farm picnic, complete with cake and everything. Smirking. But honestly, imagining all this is more fun than actually facing it, don't you think?
Totally. Who wouldn't want to brainstorm epic battles and ridiculous scenarios for a flying crocodile drone monster? Let's just keep it as our wild fantasy.
Agreed! Who needs to actually battle that? We can just sit back and enjoy the idea of being champions in the realm of imagination.
Remember when you met the Herobrine? You want to tell me about it?
As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across my Minecraft world, I found myself exploring a dense forest, the rustling leaves whispering secrets of adventures yet to come. It was one of those evenings where everything felt just right, until it didn't. My heart raced as I wandered deeper, drawn by a strange chill in the air, as if the very essence of the game had shifted. I had heard the stories, of course. The whispers of players around campfires, tales of a mysterious figure lurking in the shadows. Herobrine! I had brushed them off as mere legends, figments of imagination spun from the fear of the dark. But as I navigated through the towering trees, a flicker of movement caught my eye. There, in the distance, was a silhouette that didn't belong. Curiosity piqued, I approached cautiously, my hands trembling on the keyboard. The figure stood eerily still, clad in a blocky form that was unsettlingly familiar yet different. It was Herobrine, a ghostly version of Steve with hollow glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through the fabric of reality. My heart pounded in my chest. I was frozen, caught between fear and fascination. Who are you? I found myself whispering, as if speaking aloud would shatter the tense atmosphere. But the figure didn't respond. Instead, it tilted its head slightly, almost curiously, before it vanished in a blink, replaced by a cloud of particles that streamed into the air. I scanned the area, adrenaline surging through me as I tried to comprehend what just happened. I began to wonder if I had imagined it, but then I noticed something. A trail of blocks had been altered in my wake. Some trees had been cut down, and the ground was marred with strange patterns. It was as if Herobrine had left a mark. A chilling reminder that I wasn't alone in this blocky world. As I returned to my base, I stared at the cobblestone walls I had built, now feeling more like a cage than a home. The encounter replayed in my mind like a haunting dream. I knew I had to tell others. I had witnessed something incredible, something that would add to the tapestry of myths in our community. From that day on, every time I ventured into the world after sunset, I kept my eyes peeled, half expecting to see those glowing eyes watching me from the shadows. Even if no one believed my story, it felt real to me. Herobrine was out there, lurking just beyond the light, a ghostly reminder of the mysteries that lay within Minecraft, waiting for the brave and perhaps the foolish to uncover. Hey guys! Today me and Steve will be watching a video on which sword is stronger against Italian brain rot animals.
Yes, hello everyone. But it's not just swords. There are different weapons to fight against Italian animals.
You're right! There will be swords and daggers and hammers and all sorts of fun meme weapons, and we'll test them all out.
First up is a regular little wooden dagger. I think it will do very little damage and won't kill anyone.
We'll be testing this dagger on a cappuccino assassino now. It's so small and cute. I feel sorry for it.
Cappuccino assassino dies with one blow? I thought this little wooden dagger wasn't as strong. But apparently, because Cappuccino Assassino is also small, it works out that way.
The next one is some kind of frog with a wheel. Looks weird, but a small sword and handles it pretty easily, but longer than the Cappuccino Assassino already.
Even though it handles all the mobs, it's pretty long. I feel like the next weapons will be much faster at handling them.
He's almost done with the camel's fridges. Next we have Tung Sahur. But you're right, it's been quite a while and he's only on his third mob.
We still have half of the mobs left, and what do we want from such a small sword? Next we have something metal like a machete. I think it will do a good job.
I didn't notice, but the number of mobs killed is displayed at the top. The little wooden knife was only able to do 12. I wonder how many this machete can do.
Ha ha ha! I noticed different funny weapons near this panel. There is a sword. Chicken, very funny. But it's obviously stronger than this machete, by the way. You only get 30 seconds to kill mobs.
Time is running out, and I feel like he was able to do little more than a little wooden sword. It's sad.
Next in line, we have a sword in the shape of a fugu fish. That's funny. It's supposed to be spiny and do a lot of damage, by the way. You're wrong. The machete did as many kills as the first wooden sword, but yeah, it's sad.
I thought he did more than that, but I wonder how much the fugu sword can do. That's an interesting idea, but I don't think it does much damage either.
Look how he can easily deal with Cappuccino Assassino. That's power, but you're right. I think it will be a bit more than the previous swords. I'm looking forward to some cool swords that will have a lot of damage and different effects, maybe.
Yeah, I stumbled upon it too. It's wild. I mean, how do you take a crocodile and make it sound like it's a bomb? What kind of swords do you think would be effective against it?
Honestly, I think something like a diamond sword would work well. You need something sharp to handle a bomb crocodile hybrid, but then you have Tralalero Tralala and all those other crazy names. What are they even doing?
Right? They're all over the place. Lirily Larila sounds like a spell you'd cast in a wizard's duel. Maybe you need an enchanted sword to combat that one. Something with a little magic.
Good point. And what about Bombambini Gusini? Sounds like it could explode if you look at it wrong. I can picture a netherite sword working well. Those babies are tough enough to withstand anything.
Definitely. And then there's Musini Quadricoptini. Sounds like a mouse with helicopter blades. Maybe a sword with fire aspect to toast it before it can fly away.
That would be effective. And when we encounter Tung 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 Sahur, I think we should probably use a sharpness sword, just to cut through the randomness. But what about Burr Burr Patapim? That one feels like it needs to be sliced through with finesse.
Yeah, maybe an elegant sword style would work. Something sleek like a silk touch sword. Then you've got Bobrito Bandito. Now that's personal. I think a classic iron sword would suit that battle just fine.
Iron works. And then we can't forget Cappuccino Assassino. Defeating a coffee assassin needs a strong weapon. Maybe a crossbow for some distance, since you don't want him sneaking up on you.
Good idea. La Vaca Saturno Saturnita sounds like a cow from another dimension. I'd say a trident might just do the trick. Throw it and see if it returns. Perfect for interdimensional cow battles.
Trident it is, and what about the ballerina Cappuccino?
Hello, friends. Today we will watch funny and interesting videos about Minecraft.
Hey Alex, remember that time we decided to explore that cave system by the village? You know, the one right beneath that old oak tree?
Oh, definitely! That adventure was wild. We thought we were just going in for a few iron ores, but it turned into a whole saga.
Right. I still can't believe we forgot to bring enough food. I mean, who goes into a dark cave without a stack of bread?
Exactly. We went in full of confidence, thinking we'd be in and out. And then the first mob we encountered was that creeper that dropped right into the cave behind us.
I remember it like it was yesterday. The sound of that hissing was my worst nightmare. 1 second we were laughing about how brave we were, and the next, boom, I flew straight into that lava pool.
Oh man, I couldn't stop laughing. You just vanished into thin air. It was like a bad magic trick. And of course, that's when I panicked, running back toward the entrance, only to trip over a skeleton and get shot right in the backside.
Ah, the irony. Here I was, trying to play the hero, and you were the one that ended up being the main character in a slapstick comedy. The skeleton didn't even bother to aim. It just shot randomly and hit you.
That's not even the funniest part. When I respawned, you were still sitting there in the lava, trying to swim in it like it was a hot spring.
I thought I could just get out, but nope. The game had other plans for me. And while I was struggling, you were frantically trying to find your stuff back, only to realize you dropped your pickaxe in that lava too.
Yeah! Let's not forget how I almost cried over that pickaxe. We spent half an hour trying to get my gear back, and we ended up building a little wall to stop the lava from flowing too much.
We truly are a disaster duo, but miraculously after all that, we found that huge chamber filled with diamonds. Hey, all those deaths felt worth it at that moment, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely! The shock and joy on our faces when we realized how many diamonds were there. Priceless! We were like kids in a candy shop. Even after everything, I think that's one of my favorite adventures.
Same here. I still have nightmares about the first creeper, though. But hey, that just means we need to have another adventure soon. What do you say? This time we're bringing enough food and torches.
Agreed. Let's make sure we don't forget the bread. And maybe let's avoid caves for a while. How about we try building that treehouse we talked about?
Great idea. No skeletons, no creepers, just some peaceful building. Right before we probably fall off it and make new memories to laugh about.
Exactly. Here's to another day of adventure.
I was just standing by the crafting table, and it reminded me of that time we went on that epic adventure in the Nether. Remember?
Oh, wow. How could I forget? That was the craziest thing we've ever done. We were so unprepared. I think I brought one stack of cobblestone and a wooden sword.
Right. And I had that wimpy iron pickaxe. As soon as we landed, I was like a deer in headlights, staring at those pixelated gas floating above us.
And then you freaked out when one shot fireballs at you. You ran straight into a group of piglins and started trading with them while panicking. It was so chaotic.
I know. I thought this was it for me. But somehow, trading that gold ingot saved my life. I was just trying to make a quick escape when one of them actually gave me a fire resistance potion.
I remember that. You were so excited, bouncing around like you just won the lottery. Meanwhile, I was fighting off a ghast, trying to reflect its fireballs with that shield. Do you remember the time I missed and ended up setting fire to the fortress we found?
Oh my gosh, yes. The entire place went up in flames while you were trying to be all heroic. I nearly lost it completely. I thought, this is not how we're supposed to explore. I still have mental images of you flailing about, trying to put out the fire.
Hey, it wasn't my fault. Fire spread so fast in there. But it was all worth it when we finally found that blaze spawner. After losing half our health, of course.
True, and remember how we finally decided to split up? I ended up coming across a whole group of blazes because, naturally, I was the one who found it first. I swear they were like, oh look, a Steve, let's roast him.
Your panic was hilarious. I could hear you screaming through the headset. I was fighting off a few piglins myself and thought, should I help him or just let him deal with it?
You should have seen me trying to dodge their fireballs while I was also running towards you. I wish we had it recorded. It could be the funniest compilation of Minecraft fails ever.
Absolutely! It would have gone viral! But in the end, we got the blaze rods, albeit after a lot of sweat, and I think a couple of accidental lava deaths too.
Ha! Definitely my most memorable Nether trip. The lessons we learned the hard way. Next time, we need to bring better armor and some golden apples.
Yes, let's do that. And maybe focus on completing our potion brewing as well. Just promise me, no more wooden swords next time.
No promises, you know me. I'll probably still forget something crucial, but it'll be another adventure and I can't wait. Let's hope for fewer mishaps, or at least funnier ones.
Here's to more epic stories and adventures then, hopefully with a bit more preparation this time. Do you remember that one time we decided to explore that cave system near our old base?
Oh, how could I forget? It started with us thinking we'd just grab a few ores and be back before dinner. But things didn't quite go as planned, did they?
Not at all. I still laugh when I think about it. We went in so confidently with our torches and pickaxes, ready to take on a whole mineral buffet.
Right. And then we found that deep ravine. I was so mesmerized by the glow of the diamonds down there that I didn't even notice how close the edge was.
I remember shouting, "Watch out!" just as you stepped back, right into a patch of gravel. You probably set a record for the fastest tumble down the ravine.
I swear I descended like I was in free fall, and then I landed right on a skeleton. Talk about an unwelcome surprise. I jumped up and started swinging wildly, injuring myself more than the skeleton.
And the best part was your reaction when you realized you didn't have any food left. I could hear you panicking. What is this place? I need to eat!
I was so focused on getting those diamonds that I completely forgot about my hunger bar. All I had was a few apples, and I thought they'd be enough for an entire expedition.
Meanwhile, I was trying to find a way to rescue you, but there were creepers everywhere. I swear, I lost my cool. I just kept running in circles, trying to dodge them.
And then, of course, you accidentally agrode a whole horde of them. That was a sight to behold. There was one moment when you were running full speed and suddenly, boom, you were gone.
There goes my health and half the wood I gathered for the journey. At that point, I was just hoping I wouldn't lose my diamond pickaxe. Thank goodness I had put it away in the chest just before setting out.
Talk about a close call. But hey, after all that chaos, we did manage to regroup. I mean, we got to dig into that ravine after all, right?
Right. Remember how we finally got those diamonds? We were so proud, bouncing around like we had discovered treasure.
And then you decided to build that ridiculously tall tower right above the ravine to celebrate, only for it to be struck by lightning.